All right. I want to say something very important. I know it's going to shock many of you. Like, the pastor has never said this to anyone, and then so please listen. I had to first ask God for permission to say this morning, and I had to ask my wife for permission. I said, "Do you permit?" I think when God has been bringing the burden to share, sometimes you have a burden in your heart to share something because there's someone that needs to hear it and be saved. And you take it back to God and say, "God, approve, you are the one saying it." We don't know men who know God by checking how they make haste. If you know the ways of God, you'll not rush. You get what I'm saying? You can fall in a lot of trouble by saying what he will not approve yet. All right. Just thank you, sir. Now, something happened. On the 29th day of our wedding, at night, around to 12, we left the living room around past 10. So around to 12. My wife just said she wants to drink water. So we have a fridge in the room, so of course there's water there. But for one reason or the other, she said she wants to go to the kitchen to take from the freezer. So she went to take from the freezer. As she opened the door of the living room, she screamed, "Come, come, come, come." What was happening? So I got up and went to the living room. It was covered with smoke. It was so serious, you could almost cut the smoke with a knife. I shut the door back, told her to go inside, got a cloth, wrapped my head around to check for the source of the fire. So I saw that it was the gas. So I put it off and had to open all the windows in the house for the smoke to go out. So I went back inside while we were waiting. And I lay down on the bed. And I was searching in my spirit. Who amongst us opened the door for the enemy to try this? If she had not gone to take water that night, God forbid, people just hear. Had a pastor in Ibadan and his wife were found dead. So this is a very serious one. But right there and then, I knew in my spirit that, I don't share house with demons. So I knew this is something else and I will get answer. That's the way it works with me. I knew this was even if demons come in human flesh, they will not do this. But for this to have happened, a door was opened somewhere. So we came for morning prayers. Took us time before we could sleep because everywhere was full of smoke. And if you know what smoke does, people choke to death. So after the morning prayer, when we got back to the house, she just said, yes, she remember she wants to show me a story. I said, what story? She said of a woman that got married. And on their wedding day, armed robbers kidnapped her, raped her, and then stabbed her multiple places, and then left her for dead on the road. So she brought the interview with the woman on her phone, on YouTube. And then the woman shared that on the 29th day of their wedding, the husband went to buy something just to keep the house warm, and they were asleep. And she just noticed that she was feeling weak on the bed, and she could not stand up. She tapped the husband. None of them could stand on their feet. They had inhaled smoke. There was no more release of oxygen for energy in their body. So they had no energy to stand, They were all, and then the husband was dying. So nobody could stand up. They could not stand on their feet. So she managed and rolled from the bed and fell on the ground. As she fell, she started vomiting. And then she was able to crawl in the midst of that smoke. They could not shout. They could not do anything till she crawled outside. And then somebody found her and then took them to the hospital. No, she passed out. And then somebody found, and then she woke up and saw herself at the hospital. And then she asked, where's the husband? They said, last night you guys inhaled so much smoke. And the only saving grace you had was that you vomited. So you were able to clear your trachea. But your husband couldn't make it, he died. As the woman was playing, as she was saying those things in the interview, I said, shut that interview now. Shut it down. I said, when did you listen to this interview? She said, about 5 years ago. I said, good. 5 years ago, when you listened to it, the enemy shot it in your subconscious mind and programmed the exact 29 days for the same event to play out. All right? So, now, when you pray so much, you may not be able to touch such because they are not surface issues. They are matters that you can touch when you begin to tell God to search your heart. So, I said, from today, it's a rule in this house. Nobody listens to bad news. Nobody receives bad possibility, and we shut it there. The woman was still going to talk about many more tragedies that she had. I said, nobody's listening to tragedy. From anyone, shut it out. This is the last time. So, I was able to get my answers. That whatever it was, the enemy had. That was the week that God opened my eyes and I said I saw someone with the stature of a widow. How could it have been that pastor gave that prophecy on Sunday and then within the week the wife is a widow? Because according to the interview she had, it was only the husband that died. And I have issues with smoke. I react to it badly. And I said, the enemy does not work on the surface. He likes to operate below the radar. That is, it will sweep issues 10 years to come. And then they will not even appear in your conscious mind. Such that by the time, and I remember I was talking with Mrs. Oni on Sunday. I said, this woman said this. She said she saw something fire. I said, this is it. All right, the enemy is trying to, but for how long has he planned this? He has planned it since 5 years ago. So there was saving grace. If this had happened in a place where this mercy would not speak, eventually the same event would have played out. Are you following what I'm saying? That is, people can carry, it is possible that out of the informations we have ingested, you can carry the possibility for the same to repeat themselves in your life. And sometimes they are not matters that will directly affect you. They may directly affect your spouse or even your neighbor, except if searched out by the mercy of God or mercy quickly spoke to about it. Why am I saying this? We serve a God who is merciful. We serve a God who is loving. We serve a God who is gracious. We serve a God who is good. But the closer we are to this God, the more deadly any small loophole can be. The more deadly. The Lord told me to share this story this morning. He said, son, exactly the same thing you saw play out, there are many that in their file, possibilities have been saved, waiting for time to happen. So we are going to apply a principle this morning that is the principle of casting down imaginations. They are not your imaginations because you are not that cruel to think them. But they are the thoughts of the enemy towards you. Both God and the devil operate through thoughts. Jeremiah 29:11, God says, I know the thoughts that I think towards you. In 2 Corinthians 10, God was speaking through Paul and then talking about casting down what? imaginations. All right, they're in the thought realm that you avail yourself to certain things, and then the tendency for the same thing to happen is stored in your file. You will pray about all other things, but you are still yet waiting. You are like a time bomb who is just on a journey waiting for a particular time for something to explode. And then people will say, suddenly. There are no sudden events in the spirit realm. Things take time to plan. Are you following what I'm saying? All right, God places that in my heart. And right now, I'm going to lead all of you. I will not share this story even in 10 years' time, except that God brought this word into my heart. Nobody around us knew. Are you following what I'm saying? I just said, shut it. Don't say anything. Just leave it. And then we go. I'm going to give you 5 minutes. Now, hear me. This 5 minutes is not just 5 minutes. It's a moment of redemption. All the finished works and imaginations of the enemy, you have the next 5 minutes to quickly destroy. They are destroyed. All the possibilities I've ingested that are contrary to my destiny, they are destroyed.